We're just the only one out. There's no other contact. It's about 50 miles from the nearest neighbor. We're out there by ourselves, so we have to survive and live out there.
I haven't listened to radio for so many years. It's hard to get reception here.
Communication is real difficult, especially when the phones are down.
The more different modes of communication you have, the better, because everybody does not still in this village have access to the internet, and so they don't have Facebook page.
So it'll be good if we could get that radio high enough to reach Canadian radio. Once we did that, then we'll have the international net language and radio.
We're sorry, you have reached a non-working number. Please hang up and try your call again.
I think it's the phone. It's busy. My name is Sarah James, and I live in Arctic Village. Arctic Village located 110 miles northeast of Arctic Circle. It's Interior Alaska, northeast Interior Alaska. And I lived here almost all my life. I grew up with my parents. My mom did arts and craft. My father did, and also he's a trapper and hunters and fisherman, and he's also a carpenter. Which in people, we were Net-A to begin with, but we use Gwich'in because Gwich'in is our language. So there's 15 villages on Canada's side and U.S. side, part of north of Yukon and part of Northwest Territory and Northeast Alaska. There's Fort Yukon, there's Chalkitsik Circle, Beaver, Stephen Village, Cannon Village, and Arctic Village, Vinitai. That's all Gwich'in Village on U.S. side. On Canada's side, there's Old Crow, Klavik, and Nuvik, Arctic Red River. We're just the only one out. There's no other contact. It's about 50 miles from the nearest neighbor, maybe 50 miles from Canada, and 15 miles from Fort Yukon, 50 miles from Arctic Village. So we're out there by ourselves, so we have to survive and live out there.
I think Arctic Village is the most beautiful place on earth, and I love living here. It's so much different than Fairbanks or the city life. It's very peaceful. It's not rushing around. I love the quietness, and I love the mountains. Communication is real difficult, especially when the phones are down. I haven't been able to speak to my mom in 5 days, maybe.
There is a telephone system here that came here a long time ago, which is United Utility, and I heard it's got bought off by AT&T, but that's the one that runs the telephone here. At one time, that did happen where there's no other communication, but they could, for emergency, they could start up a little generator and get it running just for a phone call. But even that, if not here, we wouldn't know what's going on in the world just by just to use that United Utility. The radio will do that regardless if we got cut off. I worked on the radio for a long time to get receiver up here, but it didn't work because I was doing it to reach all language and village on the U.S. side, and which we did. We did raise enough money, and we got it. But once we got the money, they said it has to go to the city, for Yukon City. So it got out of our hand, and it reached other villages in the flats, but we're into the mountains. We had to put a receiver between Fort Yukon and here in order for us to get it. But it's up to Fort Yukon City to let us do that. But it never happened. We tried.
I don't know. I haven't listened to radio for so many years. It's hard to get reception here. I used to stress out aerial, trying to pick it up from Fairbanks. And I was, you got to have certain direction.
I think a radio station here would be good because the radio station there is so far away. The reception is poor, so we rarely receive that good signal. The more different modes of communication you have, the better, because everybody does not still in this village have access to the internet, and so they don't have Facebook page. Okay, but they do have radios and they do have walkie-talkies and things like that that we do use to communicate too. So the more ways we have to communicate with each other and to the outside community, it would be beneficial for us here in our village.
We're all Caribou people, which is porcupine Caribou people. We were nomadic before we got into colonized into the village, and then life got harder too because the first contact, and the changes that really was hard on our people, and there was a lot of starvation, a lot of hard times, and trying to live the Western way and trying to live traditional, trying to survive, that was hard. And so we lost a lot of people during that time, with flu and chicken pox and TB and all kinds of changes that our people died from. That's how I grew up, off the land out there in my language, and take care of the land we use, and then in return they'll take care of us, even though there's not a big population out there. Are just my family. We still have to practice that, and because that's how our parents taught us to respect the land that we use for our food, everything we have. We mainly depend on traditional food and some rationing Western food. Like we don't have a choice of having tea every day with sugar or anything like that. We only get limited treats. And that's how we ration and make supply last. And we learn how to do that to survive out there. And we learn how to put up a tent every day, sometimes different places. And we have our own chores. Like I'm the youngest one out of nine brother and sister, but Gideon is the only oldest one that handles the bark, and that's how we did things in the summer times, just about the same thing. So all these need to be taught. A lot of young people knows, like I said, they had experience sheep hunting, fishing. They go fishing here in different lakes, and how to get there and how they can fish the fish and that kind of stuff. These young people do that. So we need to teach all that on the radio, and we need to talk to all that stuff so people will get educated.
We have a radio station in Fairbanks that is native based, and the native music that they play on there, the words, the native words of the day, and me and my children benefited from it, and I think it would be a great benefit for our community in sharing our culture and our traditions and our music. Fiddle music and stuff brings a lot of joy to our community members. It brings happiness, I think.
And so with that radio station, we can get cultural things out more to people, school activities that we can get out. We have a lot of musicians that are here that actually create their own songs and things like that. And so we can get able to have that placed on the radio as well. Communities are able to talk to each other through that radio with the messages that they do send out. And then with being wanting to bring communities together and activities together, it'll be a prime opportunity and a way to do that as well. And so this is what we try to teach our students to be successful in both cultures. So we teach their cultural native activities, and we teach them the requirements for the state of Alaska for their educational degree. So we want them to be successful in both cultures.
We live in a two world, which is Western world and our traditional way. So we combine these two, and we still do. And we're going on a fourth generation since a contact. So we have to live that way even today. So it's very important that we respect that on both sides. There's many people out there in the world like to see Arctic Village. They like to see how we live and what we're really talking about. But they are welcome to learn our way of life, and that will benefit them and benefit the world. And communication is very important, because right now I can't go back to a bow and arrow like I want to, and I can't be somebody else who I'm not. We have to make this thing work together. that will be available to the radio. So we do need the outside world, and we do need our own world here. So that will help it to survive and not be isolated. They didn't ask question. They didn't confront with us or anything. It's just like they're doing flying and doing everything over our head, saying that they're gonna do gas and oil development up in the coastal plain of the Arctic National Wildlife, and then say, hey, that's supposed to be the porcupine caribou calving ground. What they gonna do up there? Just it was really shocking.
People look for riches. They look for, they want to get rich, which is okay sometimes, but you have to worry about the environment. I went with my dad sometimes, putting fishnet in the winter, and the ice is thick. Sometimes real thick. Now, you can't even walk out there because you're too thin. The environment is, there's a sign of melting. There used to be a lot of permafrost, That used to be our storage area, In the shade, we take out some moss, and we store our meat there so it stay cool. But you can't do that no more. I think today that the public and people around the country got alerted that something's going on, and it's true. And we would have caught it about 30, 40 years ago. Then, we have easier time to solve it. But we waited and waited, and it just got worse. Now, it's beyond to fix it. Even if you set up a radio and do announcement every day, which is a good idea. But we should have done that 40, 50 years ago.
Teach the world in a good way. That's the only way, because it's just nobody knows us then. Nobody even know where Arctic Village is at. Nobody know about porcupine caribou or Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. Those kind of things we need to continue, and also continue to protect the Arctic Refuge to the world. On the radio, talk about it every other day or every day, what it means to us. And it'll tell the world why we say no to oil. There is tribal radio out in lower 48, they call it down that way. That they have their own tribal radio station. And if we could fix one up with a tower, and then we can get at least a radio here if we get cut off from all communication. I heard it's very hard to get international radio. But we're high enough. Maybe we could, if we got a tower, we might reach Canadian tower. Once we did that, then we'll have the international netzaikwich and radio. There are people that's expertise on these things. We need that person to get paid and to do it, and then also the equipment and everything that goes with it, because we don't have that kind of money. I am one of the elder here now because I'm 78 years old, and I can remember since about last 50 years I could remember. So I feel that I'm valuable to my people because I know what I'm talking about because I lived it. We're raising money or trying to get awareness out there. We need radio. To call it KRBU, Caribou. Yeah. Yeah, Caribou. KRBU.